Hi, I'm Peggy Johnston, and today I'm sat with Miss Hall to talk about History A level at Point and Sixth Form. Could you start by giving us an overview of the subject, please?
Yes. So in history, everyone will study the Tudors, and that starts in 1485 and goes through right to 1603, and you cover all of the key Tudor monarchs. And really, it's a real kind of pivotal role in British history. The Church of England starts at that time. We have a break from Rome at that time, and obviously you look at the monarchs who have got quite differing reputations. Henry VIII and his wives. Mary has got a very bad reputation, known as Bloody Mary, and Elizabeth is known as this kind of golden queen. You will look to see whether those reputations are deserving or not, based upon what you find out about what they do in order to rule England successfully. But you also may look at Russian history. So one class will be looking at Tudor and Russia, and the other class will be looking at Tudor and Germany. In Russia, you start the course in 1917 and you go through to 1953, and you are looking at a very important part of Russian and 20th century history. We start with the revolutions, which brings in the first communist government ever to have existed in the world. And we end the Russian course looking at the spread of communism across Europe before it starts spreading into Asia in the 1950s. The main focus is on Joseph Stalin, the most notorious leader, in my opinion, of the 20th century. We look at how he controlled Russia by use of propaganda, but also a big dose of terror as well. If you do the Germany side of the course, you are looking at probably the most famous part of history in the 20th century. You will be looking at Nazi Germany. The course begins in 1918 after Germany loses World War I, and you have a look at the impact that has on Germany and how the new German government, the Weimar Republic, tries to recover from the war. And you will be able to assess how successfully they are able to recover from the problems caused by World War I. As you move through year 12, you will look at the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis and the impact they had on Germany, looking at the impact they had on society, how they tried to improve the economy, which was one of their key promises, and you will end by focusing on World War II and the end of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in Germany.
That's great. And could you tell us what your favourite part about teaching A-level history is?
Well, I'm a Russian specialist, so really I should pick out a Russian part of the course. I really enjoy teaching Russian history. I think it is incredibly relevant to today's world. A lot of what is going on between Russia and Ukraine at the minute, for example, has its roots in the USSR. It has its roots in what happened under Lenin and Joseph Stalin in the 20th century. And I really enjoy that political aspect of it, looking at the treatment of different groups in Russia and how that went on to affect the rest of history of the 20th century, even up to modern day as well.
That's great. And why do you think students should take A-level history?
I think history is a really great subject for all sorts of jobs and courses. Universities, for example, call it a facilitating subject. So they consider it to be quite rigorous, quite academic. It doesn't exclude you from any particular subjects. What you learn in history in terms of your writing skills, how to kind of formulate an argument, how to debate upon a subject, how to analyse source material and be able to pick out the motives behind why someone might say what they do. All of those are really important to a lot of things that you would study at university. And also they are skills that employers do really value as well, because history and writing essays is all based upon communicating your knowledge and communicating it clearly, which is really important to any job.
So what are the main differences between GCSE history and A-level history?
In many ways, I would say A-level history is a little bit more straightforward. I don't mean easy, because the subject is advanced. It is advanced level. But at GCSE, you would have had to study 4 different topics. You would have had 4 different styles of exam papers with many different questions on there. At A level, you have 2 exam papers with essentially 3 different types of questions: essay questions, a source question, and a question that asks you to evaluate some historians' views. There is a coursework element of it as well, unlike GCSE. So it basically means that you are able to go away, independently work on a topic that you really would like to investigate further, and it amounts to 20% of your grade by the time you get to the end of year 13. So there are some differences. There are smaller classes, far more opportunity to debate issues and communicate your ideas, really get stuck into a subject rather than moving on quite quickly, which sometimes we have to do at GCSE.
And what have students gone on to do after studying A-level history?
A lot of our students actually go on and take history-related courses. This year in particular, we've got a lot of current year 13s who are thinking about doing history, or a kind of a combined history and potentially like politics course at university. We have had people that use history as a way of developing their communication skills, but have gone on to study medicine, dentistry in the past as well. And quite a lot of students do like to go down the more business route. And again, their essay writing skills that they have used in history have really benefited them in getting access to those courses.
Great. Thank you for giving us a closer insight to A-level history.